One of my favorite questions to ask successful people is, if you had to start over from zero, no money, no audience, what would you do? So while I'm not one to have a lot of regrets, I always find it really, really interesting to hear what people would have done differently in situations, because we all know hindsight is 2020. And while I wouldn't really change much because Boss Babe has had so much success, that's not to say I wouldn't have done everything exactly the same. And Boss Babe isn't the only business I've had. I've had multiple business ventures and I feel like I've learned a lot along the way. So lucky for you, I'm spilling all the mistakes and how you can avoid them entirely in your own business. This has taken me years to know and understand. So consider this the only game plan you need for starting a business or turning your business into a 7-figure business. I'm also going to be revealing one major mistake people do when starting businesses. Let's just say it's probably not what you think or something you've heard before. So stick around to find out what that mistake is at the end, plus exactly what I would have done differently if I was starting all over again. So I just want to start at the very, very beginning. I'm starting from zero, no audience, no money. Here's what I do. So step one, get clear on your skills. So if I could do it all over again, the very first step I would take would be to get really, really clear on what my skill set is. So what this might look like in practice is taking out a journal, the Boss Babe planner, and writing down everything that you're really, really good at. So if you struggle at this stage, which a lot of you might, and that's totally fine, send a text to 20 of your friends or previous clients and ask them what they think your genius zone is, or if they could have you for a day, what they'd have you help them with. What can you do better than anyone else out there? You might want to keep this list for a week or so and just add to it whenever you think of something. So take note of all the occurrences that went well throughout the week and why they went well. What skills did you use to positively handle them or put yourself in a good light? So really take a week and think about it. That's what I would do. Then step two would be figuring out what I actually enjoy doing. So once you have the list of skills, add on what you enjoy doing. Same directions here, write it all out. Maybe you like to cook, to write out a detailed budget, or to organize events for friends. Maybe you're a really good connector of people and you really find satisfaction in that. Because I can tell you right now, one mistake that I see people making when starting a business is forcing something because they think they should be doing it. If you don't truly love what you're doing or feel a natural pull to it, you'll get bored quickly and you'll probably want to pivot. And it's really hard to skill something that you just not are enjoying doing. So you've got your list of skills and things you enjoy doing. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got a good business idea. People might not be willing to pay you for anything on that list. But let's think about what on those lists has the ingredients of a product or service. Do you actually want to solve that problem? Are you actually really interested in having that type of business? So sit with that and really reflect on it. So that's what I'd be doing. Remember, you wouldn't need to have a business plan at this point. It's really just about brainstorming and getting clear on things that you enjoy doing and skills that can, be developed into a business. So for me at this stage, I'd be starting to look at people in my network and extended network and understanding from these lists what problems I could be solving for them. Am I saying here that maybe I'm seeing that I'm really good at extracting a vision and turning it into a plan of action? So if that was it, I might look for someone in my network that really, really needs an integrator in their business, and I might think about pitching myself to them. So I'd probably notice that in this stage, I'm really multi-passionate and I have a few different ways that I could take this next business venture. And this is a really positive thing. I want to make one thing clear. At this stage, you do not need a niche. At this stage, you do not need to be known for one thing. And listen, I know that might go against all of the advice you've heard in the past, but stick with me. You do not need a niche. So step 3 would be testing phase. You all know by now, I'm a big data freak. I think testing is really, really important. This is actually a stage that I've seen way too many eager entrepreneurs skip over, because I get it. You want to immediately start making a plan, start making money, and get a business off the ground. But remember what I said about truly loving what you're doing? That part's key, and therefore so is testing. But not only is testing going to help you find a business that actually aligns with you, but you need to understand that there has to be market demand for your business, right? There has to be market demand for your business. So again, contrary to popular belief, you cannot just pull an idea out of thin air and run with it. It takes testing and research. So in this phase, not only are you here to test your ideas and concepts, you want to be testing pricing models, analyzing demand, and feeling into what really aligns with you. So if it was me, that's exactly what I'd be doing at this stage. So to put it into action, I'd start thinking through a few things that I could do to help people. I'd really start to be reaching out to them. So I'd be thinking about doing a service at this point. So what you're going to want to do is test a few ideas before committing to that one idea. So pull a few ideas from that list. Once you have a few ideas, it's time to hit the streets. Well, not literally, but like it's time to put those ideas out there and start testing and maybe hit the DMs. So it would be time to start reaching out to people in your audience or network on social media or through email, through text. Really starting to connect to see if there are potential customers out there for each of your ideas. It could literally be as easy as sending a DM to someone who you know you could really, really help and support. So what I would do in this stage is drop a message saying, I'm starting a new venture doing XYZ and you popped into my mind. I think I could really help you. I would love to hop on a call and see if it's a fit. For all we know, that could be $100,000 client if I was really solving a big problem. I'd be really fully transparent up front so that everyone is clear on the intention of the call, that it's a sell. And once I'm on the call, I wouldn't be bluffing. I'd be really honest and say, listen, this is a new business venture. I think I could genuinely help where you're at. And here's the results that I'd be looking to achieve within your business. Then I'd throw out my price and see what happens. It might end up in a negotiation, which tells me that the pricing model would need work. It might end up being way too low. They're like, yeah, that's a great deal. You just don't know until you really understand what it could be worth to the other person, not what it's worth to you. And by the way, if you're not sure how to find those potential ideal clients through social media, you do not want to miss a video that I've already done on finding quality followers on Instagram. So I'm going to put a link here for that video. Things that you might be considering at this stage are people actually willing to pay me for my product or service? While a lot of people might tell you that it's a really good idea, they might not actually be willing to pay you for it. And I see this all the time. If people aren't willing to pay you for something, but they're saying it's a good idea, and you know these people are your ideal clients, you might not actually be onto a winner. Because if it's the right people and they're saying yes, but they're not paying, it might not be working. You also want to think about, are you really fired up working on one of these ideas more than the others? You really want to trust your gut, because this will happen and you'll notice most of the time the idea that ends up being the one you're most excited about is also the one that gets most results and gets most interest in this phase. Other questions you can ask are, how could I make each one of those ideas scalable? Which ideas are bringing in all of the best results? Do I really want to go all in here? Or if I could do only this one thing until I make 7 figures, would I actually want to commit to it? Ideally, in this stage already, you're making money from this business and it's all been done by outreach or friends of friends. So you haven't put any money or time into websites, branding. It's all just been a really intimate experience and it's turning a profit for you. So you're actually getting paid to test your business model. That's what I'd be doing. Step 4 would be really thinking about making a decision. So this could take a few months, by the way. And if you're clear on what's working and what isn't by this stage, here you really want to start making decisions on what feels right for you and your next business venture. A lot of what I mentioned has been very service-based. And the thing is, it's easy to pop up a service-based business very quickly. You don't need a physical product, but you might decide that after trying this, you're seeing the need for a product and you're wanting to go all in on that, but you could continue the service on the side to fund it. Again, that's what I'd be doing. Or you might decide to go the product route completely and seek investment. Therefore, you'd start the whole test process all over again. There's no one size fits all or correct approach to this. Business is very, very individual and so many strategies work. There's no right one strategy. Step 5, assuming you're good to go, is that you'd think about your marketing strategy and sticking to one strategy. So if this was me and I spent the past few months figuring out what I was going to do next, I'd be then thinking about how to turn this into a real business. Generally, this means revenue. Again, not always, as you might be going a different route, you might be seeking investment, but if I was starting from scratch, I know I would be thinking about revenue. So in this stage, I know that I've got my offer. Then I get extremely, extremely clear on my ideal client avatar. After that, I would dial in my pricing strategy. And while we were pretty broad within the testing phase and testing several different ideas, now for me, I would be honing in on one thing specifically. And I would hone in on doing one marketing strategy. I'd be fully focused on revenue and results. To achieve revenue and results, I need clients consistently, and I'm going to go all in on one marketing strategy because I think that's how you get initially really good results. And listen, there are endless marketing strategies out there to choose from lead magnets to Instagram to Facebook to partnerships to ads to affiliate, word of mouth. I could go on forever. There's no one right way. In fact, if you are interested in different ones, in my course OLS, we actually cover tons of different marketing strategies. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put a link below in the show notes, which will dive into different strategies. But for now, what I would recommend is doing some research on each of these marketing strategies. So what skills do you have that might support one of these strategies versus the other? Where is your ideal client hanging out? How many clients do you actually need to make money? Do you need something more scalable? Can you systemize anything that you're already doing? So asking all of these questions. You might also be surprised to know that I actually wouldn't choose Instagram as mine in the beginning. In fact, you'd probably be very surprised. I'd stick with something really intimate, and I'd probably just be doing outreach in my network and asking for word of mouth referrals, while slowly building myself a personal brand on social media like YouTube or Instagram. But I actually wouldn't focus tons of energy there until I was making money. For me, you know, if you are not making money, it's a hobby, not a business, and I would be here to build a business. If I didn't have an audience, or I wanted to do something less high touch and more mass market, I'd think about partnering with someone who does have an audience, and I'd work in more of like a joint venture affiliate format. The options here are totally endless. All I know is that I would find a way to make this business successful. And so I'd stick with one thing I know will work if I pair it with the magic ingredient, which is consistency. And so what you'll do is you'll go all in with a strategy to ideally help you reach that 6-figure mark. Once I was there, I would move into step 6. So step 6 would be bringing someone in to help with the day-to-day running of the business. This would be the next thing that I work on. And this is often a scary and a hard step because it means relinquishing control and paying someone. But let me tell you, it is so worth it once you do. It's terrifying in the beginning, but it's so worth it. By freeing up something you're not good at, don't have time for, or don't like doing, you can really hone in and focus on your zone of genius. And when it comes to the business, you can start to step back and really start to scale if you have enough support and consistent revenue. Without you having to actually touch every single process of the business, you can take a breath. Look at the analytics, see where the business is doing really well, see where you can improve or where there's a hole in the business. There's so many things you can look at when you've got the space to look at. A bonus tip is to take note of those analytics from the start. So gather positive data, testimonials, and then when you bring someone in, have someone on your team put this all together in a document or on your website. Instead of going back to find all of this info years into the business, do it from the very start, or at least when you make your first hire. I wish that's something I did in the beginning. But the bottom line is, by taking yourself out of the weeds, it is so much easier to start to see the big picture of your business, which leads me to step 7. Think big picture. So really stepping back and seeing the vision of what you're doing. But if you remember how I told you I'd be sharing one of the major mistakes a lot of new business owners make at the start, it's this exactly. And it's thinking about the big picture too early. So that's right, I actually wouldn't start thinking about big picture until I've actually got proof of concept. Until I had a business and I was actually gaining clarity, I wouldn't be worrying about the big picture too much. I'd really just be thinking about revenue and putting one foot in front of the other. But at this stage, it would be time to start thinking about big picture. And this might look completely different for everyone, but here are just a few examples of how you could hone in. Do you need to make any other key hires? Maybe you want to write this down. Maybe you want to extend your marketing strategy into something else and you need to hire a Facebook genius. Maybe you want to start speaking at events and you need to get a PR person to get your name out there. Maybe you struggle with copy and you need a copywriter or so forth. Maybe there are investments you need to make in your business. It might be a certain software or paid ads or something like that. Maybe you need a studio space to start creating beautiful content, which I haven't even done yet, by the way. How can you scale what you're doing to upsell or downsell? How could you get your current customers to convert into more sales? It's actually a lot easier to convert current customers versus bringing in brand new ones every single time. And then finally, a question, what are you wasting your efforts on? Then after that, I'd move to step 8. So I would playbook it, which is a total game changer when it comes to your business. And one more major thing you can get done once you make that first hire and have actually freed up some time to focus more on the business. So creating an internal playbook is honestly one of the smartest things we've done at Boss Babe. And if I was starting from the beginning, I would have done this earlier. I'm really, really excited to share this secret with you. So essentially, this is an internal guide as to how your business works. It's a detailed playbook that you can literally just hand over to a new team member when they're onboarding. And the best part is, you don't really need to be that involved with their training when the playbook is in their hands or inbox. This is something that has been so incredibly powerful. It should include templates that your company uses, video trainings that you only have to create once, any style guide or branding book, resources, company policy, and so on. Basically, your brain as the founder should be downloaded into this playbook. And because this is so incredibly valuable, I've actually put together a completely free template for you. So the link is below if you want to download it, and you'll get access to how we do it at Boss Babe, and you can just adjust it for your own business. Like I said, this is a total game changer and something you only need to create once. From there, you can hand this off to future team members and essentially train them, like I said, without needing to be involved. Here's the truth though. I actually didn't start building a playbook until I was over a year, maybe like a year and a half into our business, and had multiple team members by this point. If I was to start all over again, I would have done this from the start and it would have made my life a lot easier. So I'm sharing that hindsight with you all. Okay, so I think that about sums up what I would do if I had to start over. The gist of it is that I'd find something I know I can do really, really well and that there's a demand for, and I would go all in on that thing. So if this video was helpful for you, I would love it if you could leave a comment below with your biggest takeaway, or ask me a question. I'm always in here responding to questions. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel so you get notified every single week when a brand new video goes live, and I will see you next week.